Year 1918. The Spanish flu epidemic, H1N1, Spanish flu, the largest pandemic in history, during which more than 500 million people were infected, killed about 100 million people. No cure was found. The world pandemic passed in 2 waves around the globe and automatically died out. 1980s, the AIDS pandemic killed more than 25 million people. The disease cannot be cured, but it can be controlled. According to World Health Organization, there are currently 33.2 million carriers of the AIDS virus on the planet. Year 2002. The atypical pneumonia epidemic first rose in Guangdong province in China. The causative agent is coronavirus SARS. In the process of reproduction, the virus destroys pulmonary alveoli cells. Mortality, 9%. The vaccine still does not exist. Year 2012. Epidemic of the Middle East respiratory syndrome. Cases have been reported in 23 countries, starting in Saudi Arabia and ending in South Korea in 2015. Mortality up to 40%. There are no vaccines for human use. Year 2014. Ebola epidemic in Central and West Africa, mortality up to 90%. The vaccine reduces mortality to 27%, but the spread does not slow down. The epidemic is not stopped. Year 2020, January 22, novel coronavirus epidemic. The 11 million city of Wuhan quarantined with the aid of the military. The Chinese authorities have limited exit from 19 cities. Over 50 million people are under quarantine. The unprecedented emergency measures seemed inadequate to the low reported number of lethal cases. Clearly, the Chinese government treated the virus outbreak as the military alert. According to the official data, almost 5 million people have managed to leave the city of Wuhan before the quarantine was enacted. Based on mobile data and geolocation, 60,000 residents managed to escape before the cutting off most of the international communication with China. It is determined that about 1,000 Wuhan city dwellers had arrived into at least 382 cities around the world. Physicians at the University of Hong Kong had calculated that by January 25, the number of people infected with the virus in Wuhan should have exceeded 75,000, although only 2,000 were officially reported worldwide at that time. Similar predictions were made by the American Bianco Research Center, based on data of coronavirus distribution from 16th to 27th of January. Independently developed mathematical models suggest the true scale of the outbreak could be 10 times larger than the official figures. Multiple analytical groups have estimated the number of cases is doubling every 5 to 7 days. Some experts point out unnatural mathematical statistical precision, keeping up exactly 2% mortality rate every day. The daily statistics cannot exceed the number of available tests, the capacity of the hospitals and camps, and the number of voluntary walk-ins. The planetary changes, including climate, bring the distortion of electrical and magnetic potentials and gravitational frequencies, which affects the change in potential in the human brain, and allows any virus to become lethal. Infection occurs via neural resonance, through the psi fields of individuals with the egregorial type of conscience. The ongoing changes render each person's collective bound mindset and low moral values no longer compatible. There's no more natural protection. However, remedy and salvation do exist. 10 years of experience in applying the SFETL technologies, invented by the Russian scientist Nikolai Levashov, prove the high efficiency of the life generator he invented and developed. Out of tens of thousands SFETL users, seldom any of them experience a seasonal influenza, none have reported any infectious diseases. Most airborne transmittable diseases leave SFETL technology users within 3 to 4 days, with mild symptoms and without any drugs or other treatments, and many users simply have forgotten what seasonal illnesses are. SFETL technologies are not a magic antidote. The new user will immediately begin to boost the energy of their psi field, that in turn will fortify the immune system. Over time, enough energy will be accumulated to protect against seasonal and other illnesses. The rate of metabolism for different ages varies, and is affected by the environmental factors. With a lead in the rhythm of event time, life generators will allow people to prepare for the upcoming changes in the surrounding reality, both In the field of the construction of the being of the energies surrounding the miraculous world, and the design of all spheres of organized and controlled being of a society of people, on the basis of a different level of technical and technological life support. This task now can only be realized by the generator, and the specified SFETL programs. The most accessible method of such protection is the lavage-off SFETL technology, such as bracelets and pendants, which create a protective size shield with a radius of 3 meters, 11 feet. The programmable SFETL complex generates a protective size shield with a radius of 20 meters, 65 feet. The gravitational frequency and electromagnetic potentials in the range of the SFETL programs, including SLN programs, remain stable, which does not allow any other frequencies to inflict changes to the human psi field, thus changing the potentials of the brain, and, consequently, preserves the wholesomeness and integrity of the entire body. Even in an epidemic zone, a person will have the overwhelming chances against any infection.